Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to build a contact us form challenge from codingspace.codes using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell to stay up to date with my latest videos. Now let's take a look what we are going to build in this tutorial. So this is our contact us form that we are going to build in this video from scratch. And we will also integrate Web3 Forms API to receive submission directly in your email inbox without any server or backend code. Now let's see demo of our project. Basically there are 4 input fields. In the first one you can type your name like this. And the second one you can type your email address. And the third one you can type the subject of this email. And the fourth one you can type the actual message like this. And then when you click on this send button, you will see a please wait text. After that it will show you email sent successfully message, and then it disappear, and then it redirect you to the success page. And after successful submission you will receive an email including all the information that your user submitted like this. And if you want to resubmit this form for some reason, you can go back to your website and submit this form again. So without any further ado, let's get started building it. First, we need to download the starter files for this project. So to download the starter files, go to codingspace.codes website and open this challenge, and then click on this download button to download all the starter files. It downloaded all the starter files. You can see the zip folder right over here. Let's unzip it and then open this unzipped folder into your code editor like this. This is all our starter files, and inside this design folder you can find designs for mobile and desktop. Just click on this and open this with live server. As you can see, this is our design that we are going to build in this tutorial. Now let's open this HTML file and start building this project. First, let's change this title to contact us form, and then link your CSS file like this. After that, link your script file using script, and then type script.js to link your script file with your HTML file. Now inside this body tag, let's write some HTML code for our project. So first create a div with a class of container like this, and inside this container div create a h1 tag and write our heading, that is send me a message like this. And below this h1 tag create a p tag, and we need to add this line. So let me copy it and paste it right over here. And we also need a line break after this line, so just add a br tag to add a line break between two lines. Now below this p tag create a form element with a class of form like this, and we don't need this action because we are not going to write our backend, so just remove it. Now we need to add these input fields. So to do that, let's create a div for each input div, and inside this div first create a label tag and name, give it a name, and give it a value, name as well. And below this label tag create a input tag like this, and first give it a id is equal to name because we are using a name over here, and then add a name attribute and give it a name value as well. I will tell you why I am writing these things in a minute. And then add a placeholder like this and give it a name value like this. Now let me explain you why I am writing ID and name like this, because we are just adding this label for the accessibility purpose, and we want to make sure that every input has a label. That's why we gave ID and for attribute same value, and we use name attribute because we are going to access our form data using this name attribute. I will show how to access this form data later in this video. Now let's make 3 more copy of this like this. Now change this for attribute value to email like this, and type email right over here as well. and then change its type to email, and then change the value of the ID to email as well, and then change its name to email, and then change the value of this placeholder to email address like this, and then change the value of the third attribute to subject like this, and then change the ID value to subject, and then its name value, and then its placeholder value. And after that, change the value of this fourth attribute to message. And now instead of using this input tag, we are going to use a text area tag that looks like this, because we need extra space for the message. That's why we are using text area tag. So let's remove this one and add a text area tag and give this name attribute message value, and write message over here as well, and then add a placeholder tag and give it a value of message like this. And below this message div, add a p tag to show the status of our form submission, like please wait, email sent successfully. We will add a value to this p tag dynamically using JavaScript. So for now, just give it an ID of result like this. And below this p tag, add a button tag to submit this form and give it a type of submit like this, and give it a value send like this. Now open this HTML file to see what we have done so far. So just click on this go live button to open this HTML file with the live server extension. If you don't have the live server extension, just go to this extension tab and search for live server, and you can install it just by clicking on this button. And after installing it, just click on the go live button to open this HTML file in our localhost. Now as you can see, this is what we have done so far. We have added all our HTML code that we needed to complete this project. Now let's start adding some CSS to make it look nice. So go back to your code editor and open your style.css file and start writing your CSS code just below this comment. Now let's add a Google font to our website. So open a new tab and head over to fonts.google.com like this and search Mont. So this is the font that we are going to use in our project. Just click on it, and we need only 400 and 600 font weight. So just click on this 600 one and this 700 one, and copy this code and open your HTML file and paste it above your style sheet like this, and copy this code and add it to your body tag like this. Now open your website to see the changes. Now as you can see, all of our font get changed. Now open your code editor and start styling our project. Now we are going to use a flex box. So add a display property and give it a flex value to make it a flex box, and then inside it add a justify content property and set its value to center all of this content horizontally, and then add a height property and give it a value of 100 viewport height, and then add align items property and give it a center value to center it vertically. Let me open this HTML and CSS file side by side, so it would be easier for me to explain everything. So basically this code center its child element, that is this container div, horizontally and vertically. So after doing this, let's add a background image and then set it a value equal to linear gradient, and then type to right and give it a color 6:2 B2FF, and now add the second color which is on the right side 6D96FF like this. Now open your browser. As you can see, we have added a linear background to our body tag. So now let's start styling this container div. So to do that, first select a container div like this, and then give it a width of 100%, and then give it a max width of 480 pixel, like this. And after this, add a text align property and set it equal to center. Now as you can see, we have centered all our text. I know it does not look good, but it will look good very soon. Now let's add padding around this container. So to do that, add a padding property and add 40 pixel to top and bottom and give 20 pixel to left and right like this. And then let's first change the color so you can see all this padding and margin changes. So let's add a background color and set it equal to white. Now you can see the padding around this container div, and then add a margin around this container div. Just give it a margin of 10 pixels like this. Now let's add a border radius property and set it with a value equal to 10 pixels like this. This border radius property make the corner of this div rounded. Now let's add a box shadow property and give it a value of 0, 6 pixel, 6 pixel, and then RGBA 0, 0, 0.1 like this. Now let's style this h1 tag. So to do that, just select a h1 tag and give it a font size of 26 pixel and add a font weight of 600 and then give it a color hash 202842 like this and save this. Now after that, let's style this paragraph tag. So to do that, just select your paragraph tag and then give it a font size of 12 pixel and then add padding top to 8 pixel. Now add a font weight property and set its value equal to 400, but we have not imported 400 value. Let's import it right over here at 400 colon like this. Now open a browser to see the changes. Now as you can see, our paragraph looks very similar to this one. Now let's style these label and input tag. So to do that, first select a label like this and give it a visibility hidden to hide these label like this. But these label does not get removed from our HTML. Let me show you. Just open this inspect and just click on this inspector button to inspect it. If you open this div, you can see this label. We just added these label for the accessibility. Now let's style these input. So to do that, first select the input tag and let's select the text area tag as well. So we can install both of these tags simultaneously and then give it a width of 100% so it takes the whole width of its parent element, and then add a padding around it and set its value equal to 14 pixel like this, and then give it a border property and set its value equal to 1 pixel solid and hash EBEBF2 color. Now add a border radius property like this and make it value equal to 8 pixel, and then add a outline property and make it value equal to none like this. Now as you can see, our input look very nice. Now let's style this placeholder tags. So to style the placeholder tags, first select the input and then select the placeholder like this, and then select the text area and then select the placeholder like this and add a color property and make it value equal to this color like this. Now as you can see, the color of this placeholder tag change very slightly. Maybe you are not able to notice that. Now let's style the border of this input tag on focus state. So to style the border on focus state, first select the input and then select the focus state like this and simultaneously select the text area tag like this and then select the focus state and then add a border property and set its value equal to 1 pixel solid and give it a color 7985FF like this. Now as you can see on focus state, the color of this border changed to light purple. Now let's style this button. So to do that, first select the button tag and then change it width to 100% and give it a padding of 14 pixel like this, and then add a border radius property and set its value equal to 8 pixel and then give it a border 0. Now let's see the changes. Now as you can see, it take up the whole width of its parent and its border become slightly rounded. Now let's add a linear background color to this button. So to do that, first select the background image property and make its value equal to linear gradient and then add to right and then make the first color equal to #62B2FF and the value of the second color is 6D9CFF like this. Now save the file to see the changes. As you can see, we have added a linear background to this button tag. Now let's change the color of this text. So let's add a color property and make its value equal to white like this. And now change the font weight of this text to 600. So let's add a font weight property and set it value equal to 600 and then add a margin between these two. So to do that, add a margin top property and make it value equal to 12 pixel. Now we need to add a cursor pointer property to change its cursor to pointer. So to do that, let's add a cursor property and make it value equal to pointer. Now as you can see, its cursor changes to pointer when you hover over this button. So we have completed the styling part. Now let's jump to the JavaScript part. So let's open our code editor and close this file and then open your script.js file. Now let's select the form using document.querySelector and pass the form tag right over here. Let me open this script and HTML side by side so you can easily see what is going on. So we just select this form and now add a event listener to this form like this, form.addEventListener, and listen for a submit event, and then when this event happen, run this function and pass e as an argument to this function so we can prevent it from reloading. To prevent reloading, just type e.prevent default like this. Now we are going to use form data constructor to construct a form data object from our form data. If you have never used form data constructor, don't worry about that. I will teach you how to use that in this video. So let's first create a variable form data and then use new keyword and then type form data and then invoke this like this. So what it does, it will create a form data object. Now if you do a console.log, you will see an empty object. Open your browser and then open your console to see the output. Now let's fill this form quickly and then hit send button. As you can see, it returns a form data empty object. Now let's pass this form inside this like this. Now it has access to all of our form data. So let me explain you what this code does. It basically populates the form data object with the form's current keys and values using this name property of each element for the keys and their submitted value for the values. I hope now you understand what this code do. Now let's create an empty object like this and then loop over through this form data using for each method and then access its each value and key inside this argument and then update this object using this key and value pair like this. Just type object and inside this object access that particular key and make it value equal to value. I'm talking about this value. So if you do a console.log quickly to see what we are getting inside this object. So now let's open your browser and quickly fill this form to see what we are getting inside that object, and just click on this send button. Now as you can see, we are getting our form data in the form of key value pair. Now go back to your code editor. Now let's convert this object to a string, because in the fetch method that we will use to make an API request that takes a strifying object instead of an object. So to convert an object to a stringify object, we need to use a json.stringify method and pass the object value right over here. Now we have converted object to a string and save it to a variable called json. So now we need to write a function to make an API call to the Web3 Forms API. So let's first create a Web3 Forms API. So to do that, first click on this button and then write your email address to create an access key. They will send you an API key to your email address. Just click on this button to get one. Now open your inbox to check the email. As you can see, I got the email from Web3 Forms API. I just need to copy this access key and paste it somewhere in our code. Now let's create a function and name it submit form and make it equal to an arrow function like this. And inside this we are going to call our API endpoint using fetch method. It goes like this: fetch and then your API endpoint. Just copy this endpoint from here and paste it over here. This fetch method returns a promise, so we need to await to resolve that promise. So we need to use async await function instead of a normal function. So to make this function asynchronous, we just need to add async keyword before this arrow, and where we want to resolve the promise, just add await before that. And then it returns a response, so save it inside a variable called response like this. And we also need to pass a second argument to this fetch method as an object. This goes like this. First we need to type the method name, which is in our case is post method, because we are posting data to the API. That's why it is post method. And then we need to set some headers like this. Headers, it is also an object, and first key value pair is content type and its value equal to application/json like this. And second key value pair is accept and its value is also equal to application/json. And then just below this add a body and make its value equal to JSON. This JSON is the form data that we will pass from here, and then we will receive it from here. So just type JSON to receive this data. Now let's call this submit form function from here. Just type submit form and pass this JSON data. Just copy it and paste it. Now what you are doing, just you are calling your submit function with JSON as an argument, and then you are receiving this JSON argument and then passing it in a body. I hope you got my point. Now after receiving this response, we need to convert this response to a JSON format. So to do that, just type const and create a new variable called data, and this also returns a promise, so we need to await that promise to resolve it, and then type response.json, something like this. Now before testing this endpoint, we need to add our Web3 Forms API in our code. So if you open the Web3 Forms documentation and then go to the installation section of this website, as you can see, we can add our API key like this. Just copy this and add it just below this form like this. And then we also need to add this input with a type of checkbox to prevent spam submission. Just copy it and paste it below this as well. Now here, instead of this text, you need to place your API key. So you can copy your API key and paste it right over here. Now save the changes. Now open your script file and let's do a console.log data to see what we are getting inside this data. So let's open our website and then let's quickly submit this form. And then click on this submit button. It should return some response. As you can see, it says success true with our form data that look like this, and it also has a message property. We will use this message property later on this video. Now if you open your email that you use to create an API key, you should receive an email with this data. Let's open your email. Now as you can see, this is our email that has all the form data that the user submitted. You have the subject, you have the name, email and message. Now let's add error handling and success redirect feature. So to do that, open your code editor and just below this data. So we can also remove this thing, we don't need it anymore. And below this, we can use try catch block. And inside this try catch block, we can use this response to check the response status. To do that, type if response dot status is equal to 200. Then we want to update this paragraph. So let's first select this paragraph like this: const result is equal to document dot get element by id, and the id is result, like this. Now let's update this paragraph right over here. To update it, we need to type result dot inner text and make this equal to data dot message. I already shown you this data dot message property. Okay, now save this file and let's go back to your website and try to fill this form again. Now hit send button. Now as you can see, it says email sent successfully. It means it successfully updated this paragraph tag after a successful response. Now let's handle this error message. So if we get any error message, then we need to update this paragraph to show the error message to the user. So to do that, type result dot inner text and make it equal to data dot message, like this, and save the changes. Now after this try and catch block, we need to remove this paragraph tag. So to remove this, let's use finally and then use set timeout function. It takes function as a first argument, like this, and inside this type result dot style dot display and make it equal to none to remove that result from the form. And then we need to add time as a second argument. We are going to add 2000 millisecond. So what it does do, it runs this code after 2 milliseconds. So let's save this file. Now open your browser and quickly fill this form like this and hit this send button. As you can see, it shows a message email sent successfully, and then it removes that message after 2 seconds. So this is exactly what we want. You can increase this time according to your requirement. Now let's handle success redirect functionality. So this is pretty simple. So to redirect the user to the success page, just add window.location.href and make it equal to a redirect page link. That is this link. Just copy it and paste it over here like this. Now open your browser to test this change. Quickly fill this form and then click on this send button it should redirect you after 2 seconds to the success page. As you can see, it redirects us to the success form page. Now go back to your form. As you can see, it does not empty the input field after a successful form submission. So to remove this input field after a form submission, so let's fix this. So to fix that, just add form dot reset method to reset the form. It means to remove all the inputs. Open your website and quickly fill this form, and then click on this send button. As you can see, it shows email sent successfully, and then it redirects us to success page, and then it removed the input field. Now if you go back to your website, it removed all the input field. So I think we have covered all the functionality that we needed for this contact form. You can find the complete code in the video description. Feel free to check it out. So that's all for this video. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this and press the notification bell to stay up to date with my latest video. Thanks for watching this video.